So in terms of accents, um, it can throw you off as a younger missionary because you're hearing things that weren't taught to you in the missionary training center, or that doesn't sound like Japanese, or proper conjugation of different words. And my mom, she's from Tokyo, and so in Tokyo, the main way of speaking is sort of the official, standardized way of speaking. And so outside of that, you see the variations in terms of um, different phrases that are used to mean different things. And for the most part, it's just the way you end sentences. And so you will still hear the main part of the word, and so you'll still hear the word you recognize, and so then you're kind of able to guess what the remaining portion of it is. I don't think there is any area where I felt like I completely understood completely what they were saying when they were speaking in that, they call it ben, which means like tongue, um, or which means so like the dialect of that place. Um, but I guess I always understood enough because they never caught on to the fact that I didn't really fully speak in their dialect. But my mom also said that it can be bad enough, and bad enough of a difference, that if you had a person from like a southern part of Japan and part from like a northeastern part of Japan try and speak together, and they were speaking just their native ben and not like it's called Kyojungo, which means standardized language or standardized Japanese, that they wouldn't be able to understand each other. And that surprised me, to be honest, because I didn't really feel like it was that different. But most people, and I think all people, know how to speak the Hyojingo, and so you're able to, or they're at least able to understand. Maybe they're so conditioned that it'll come out with even without them trying to speak with their accent or their dialect. But you'll always be understood. Um, and I can't think of.
Can you demonstrate like what it might sound in the Northeast compared to South? Like any like say the same like hello, how are you, in like two different kinds of accents.
Yeah, so
Maybe.
the biggest difference you probably see is between the mainland and Okinawa. Okinawa kind of has its own language, and so konnichiwa is the regular way you would say hello, but in Okinawa it's haisai, or you know, please eat a lot, like dozo tabete kudasai, would be kame kame kogeki, which is completely different. And so um, in terms of Okinawa, it's just a completely different vocabulary that you'd have to know. It almost seems like each prefecture has its own, because we'd say that there's Kumamoto Ben, Nagasaki Ben, Fukuoka Ben, and um, Saitama Ben, or wherever. Like each prefecture would have its own Ben. It's fun learning to know how to say things in different prefectures, and when you learn that, you kind of feel more of a bond with that place or that city that you're serving in, because you can throw in those small subtleties that make it unique to the way they speak.